Yo, 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 what is up, my peeps? Jermaine Man Cop here. I am back with the Batman to my Robin, the one and only Metro. And we are going to do some peer review. What's up, buddy?
Hey there, guys. It's Metro, and today we're back with my main man Cop, and we're gonna be checking out something that we've been talking about doing for a while now. So I've been talking about doing this on my channel. Currently, only gonna be doing it to help Cop. Again, I want to help him grow as fast as possible as a player, and I think it's a really good option. Basically, we're gonna be watching a VOD, like a clip of his VOD, of us doing Mythic Maut, which we did just kill as the time recording less than 24 hours ago. So it's fresh in my mind, and I assume it's fresh in his too.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be checking out his POV, and I think I already watched this last night, so I already have some things that I want to comment on. But the point here is to, kind of help him identify his mistakes, perhaps some things that he could do slightly better. For me especially, I'm happy to do this for dungeons and tanking and stuff like that. I don't really feel like super confident doing it for raids, but because, I followed Cop through his basically whole progression cycle in this video game, I feel comfortable helping him, but somebody that I don't know if I'd be able to actually. I don't play Windwalker, right? That's the reason this isn't going to be on my channel, because I don't cover Windwalker stuff. So, but yeah, in the future, we'll maybe do some dungeon stuff. What do you think?
Sounds good to me, my friend.
Yeah, because Cop's going to be doing, big plug here coming up. Cop's going to be doing on the weekend. He's going to start doing some pugging of Mythic Plus keys, trying to throw himself right into the fire there. So. Maybe we can get together again and say, like, here's maybe Cop finds his best dungeon from the weekend, and we get together and watch it, and it could work.
I like it.
So anyway, we're using this program or website. It's called Watch Together. A lot of people use it to watch like hentai or whatever the kids watch nowadays. But yeah, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be watching a World of Warcraft video, and this is actually kind of just just a system we're using so we can watch it together. But I believe when I start the video, it's going to start for him. So are you ready to get to it?
I'm ready to get to it, buddy.
All right, let's start. So obviously here on the pull, 10-second countdown, plenty of time here. Make sure Cop pre-pots. See what happens. 2 seconds, 3 seconds. There's the pre-pot. Good start. So obviously, if you guys watched this live, you would know that this fight was actually not that DPS intense. I thought it was going to be a lot more DPS intense. And that was part of the reason that we had Cop out for the get-go, because I really wanted to have extra range for this fight. This fight was one that was really, I thought it was going to be really range heavy, and having an extra hunter I thought was going to be to our benefit, but ultimately didn't end up working out. I'm glad I got him back in because he was playing way better than the person that we replaced him with. But anyway, you see out of the gate here, this first mechanic here, drop pool. So I have to say, Cop, I'm really impressed with how quickly you picked this up. It took a lot of people a long time. If you watch this live, you would know that we struggled a lot with this, and maybe if you're doing this for your own guild, you'll probably struggle with it too. What we really need here is 3 perfect placements of these pools, so all the other mechanics could happen as we want them to. And Cop accurately, first of all, like, this is no small feat. Not only did he drop it exactly where we asked him to, but he accurately assessed the situation and saw who had it, realized that I could stay in melee. See, the other 2 are actually on K-Maz and Jehufa. One's a priest healer, one's a warlock DPS. So the other 2 that need to be placed are much farther away from the boss. So yeah, did you notice this like live, or tell me a little bit about that?
I seem to recall hearing something about 2 are in ranged. I remember because we have an awesome shot caller, and I didn't. It wasn't something I consciously was aware of, but I also did not notice anybody in the melee group get it besides me.
Okay.
So,
yeah, fair enough. Like, I guess it's a little obvious here. So this mechanic there. All right. So obviously made a mistake.
Yep.
So that mechanic there is 100% avoidable, and we would kind of been battling that all night. It's called Black Wings. Part of the strategy we're doing here. That's why we have the range. You see them over in the corner there, by that blue marker. That's where all the ranged are, and then we have all the melee kind of like about like 75 degrees to the other direction. And the reason we do that is so the Black Wings mechanic, which turns and knocks everybody back in front of the boss, it always picks melee. So ideally, that mechanic would be on your screen counting down, and you would just move at 1 second. Like, it should be perfectly easy to dodge. Maybe what do you think got you hit there?
I was coming out of the pool at just the wrong time. I was trying to roll through him or move through him, and I was already getting the pushback from it, and I just didn't react quick enough with a roll to move past it. And
Yeah,
that's
fair enough. It's a bit tough if you're trying to drop the puddle and he does it at the same time. But obviously, you probably want to just roll north at that point or
okay.
whatever, towards Jix instead of towards the boss. So yeah, Cop gets knocked back. He quickly jumps back in with what's that called? Flying Tiger Punch or something?
Flying Serpent Kick, yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So anyway, Cop's back on the boss. The big thing I would say, like from when watching your VODs in general, is that your uptime is poor at times, and I don't really see it on this fight, but a couple times I think maybe a couple mistakes were made. So this is not even Cop's mistake. So there's again Black Wings. He accurately dodges it this time, but you see a couple melee. One of them Latsu, who is also playing Windwalker very well as well. He actually runs really far out, so I think you're going to see Cop do this too. But there was just no cause for it. I don't know why melee were doing this. I guess they were just frightened by the mechanic. But like I see people running like 60, maybe even 100 yards away with this mechanic. There was no need to do it. Once we have this first one placed, you can literally just keep placing them there. If every single one was just right on top of Skull, that would have been fine. Like right around Skull, it would have been fine. So in the future, when we do this fight again, just if you get it, just don't, just go as the littlest time away from the boss as possible is how you're going to want to maximize this fight.
I think, if I may, I think I know what's going on with that. Is that it's so antithetical to think I can put it right on top of the other one, and I think that's what gets us when we're trying to do the fight. So we're trying to move it so it's not, it's like we're trying to do the Vexiona fight.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's again lots who does it again there. So like I don't know. I mean, really, ideally, if you see where Skull is currently. If all of like everyone that went on melee was just basically right there, that would have been fine, because I actually posted an image in the Discord, and everything to the right of Skull is dead. Like there's no purpose to be there. So you could have literally just placed them all right in that area, even if they weren't like tightly clumped up, it wouldn't matter. So if I were you, what I would have probably done was I would have gotten that mechanic, waited 3, 2, and then 1, and just roll, and then roll right back. Wherever you go, and it's as long as it's not directly on the place where everybody's stacked, whatever direction you went in, that would have been fine. And that's definitely what I'd recommend for every melee. We got warriors, we got monks. Just take the path of least resistance, get out, and get back in as fast as possible, because it's just not. Once we have that first one down, that mechanic just doesn't matter anymore.
Might even make it easier when we're trying to position unfortunate placements of those mobs that spawn.
It could actually help, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. If that mob, basically, for me, I'm not featured in this video, but I was doing a kind of complicated job. And if I could just, basically, if that ad could never leave one of those purple circles, that would be the ideal way for me to do the encounter. The only thing I don't know if maybe the mob is immune to taunt when he's immune to magic. I don't think so, but yeah, ideally, if he spawned in a pool, that would be ideal. But obviously, you can't count on that. So yeah, one other mechanic that is happening. There's a new debuff on the fight. It's called Ancient something. It's a curse. Would you remember what the name of it was?
Ancient Curse is what it's actually called. Yeah.
Ancient Curse. I see. Okay, there we go. So anyway, we actually just had Cop deal with it. Let's. I'm gonna show that off real quick, because basically, I think now at this point, like we really almost did it like last night without even trying. So yeah, you see it goes on a bunch of people. If you were listening to the audio here, I'm calling out when people should be using, like basically you go into the puddle to drop it. I was telling people exactly when to do that. But honestly, if I was melee, I would just get it all off immediately. Like there's it's so little damage anyway. But yeah, it looks like you're in group. Are you in group 2?
Group 3.
Group 3. Oh yeah, I see. Your frames build from the left. Mine build from the right.
Yeah.
So Jix is group 1, Valis group. Yeah, okay. So you're group 3. Yeah, probably best to wait. But either way, the faster the thing about that mechanic is it basically gets removed anyway. Like I noticed a couple times you actually like roll through a puddle with it, and probably didn't even mean to do that, but it still removed it. So it's fine. That mechanic is really, I have to say, this fight is a lot. The numerical requirements on this fight are very small. It's kind of crazy, but the mechanics are really nuts.
Yeah.
If you mess them up, you really just die. So Stygian Annihilation, I think you're handling it pretty well. I would say with 1 second left on the timer. Actually, let's go back a little bit here, because Plater is what I normally use. As you see, Plater shows like a really good indication of how long this cast time is. Not far enough. Yeah, it shows a really good indication of how far this cast time is. So as you see on the screen, Stygian Annihilation 4.1 right now. We have a pause there by the 4-second mark. Basically, as soon as you see the number 1, so 1.9, that's when I go in. I was trying to call it out, but it's tough because maybe there's a little lag over Discord. So for the future, if I were you, that's what I would do. Let's see when you actually go in. 3, yeah. So you're going a little. Yeah, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. Maybe a split second early, but
I'm using that weak aura, and it's got a countdown on it as well. I'm trying to go in when it says 1, but I get antsy about it.
Fair enough. The only problem is that if you go in too early, then you take a bunch of damage. So
yeah.
Now I'd love that actually you saw that there. I'd love if you could help with that next time. I don't want to put anybody on a burdensome task there as melee, but there's a time where we needed one of these ads to get taunted to the boss. And you do this because there's 3 ads out. One just dies because he's in the pool the whole time. The other 2 we don't even care about. They're going to basically do nothing to the boss. We're going to make them feed him mana at the right time so he just doesn't gain any mana from it. So what we need is a taunt at the right time. And we had Osh doing it just because I guess he volunteered. But ideally it would be a monk because speed taunt, that still works, right? That's for Windwalker too?
I only have 1 taunt as a Windwalker, and that's I don't even remember the name of it off the top of my head because I use it so little.
Yeah, it's called Provoke. It speeds the mob up by 50%. Is that I believe that's still the case, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain because I don't never use it. I'm a DPS.
Okay.
I never want to taunt.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, maybe it's not the best choice then since you had some trouble tanking in the past. But yeah, if we could get a monk to do it, that would be ideal because then the boss would get it much quicker. We're actually having some trouble with this. Why I'm bringing it up. We're actually having some trouble with this. It seemed like he was sporadically gaining mana at different rates. I can't really understand why. I don't know the fight, I guess, that well, but yeah, he would go from 80 to 90 in a split second or something like that at times. So ideally, the second he would hit 90, he would eat the ad. That's the maximum. That's how the fight would be maximized. But it doesn't really matter. The problem is if it doesn't happen in time, then we get another ancient curse. And I think we might actually have that happen in this one. You remember that happening, right?
Yeah, I remember that happening.
Do anything to not die.
Maybe not on this pull though, because this is actually a really good pull. As you see, everybody's alive. So here we have everybody split up. The group doesn't look like they did a fucking good job of that. I'm pretty embarrassed by this. Everybody should be tightly stacked, directly on these colors. Cops on Moon. It doesn't even matter where. We didn't even organize people. But yeah, just basically stand right on Moon, and you're gonna see the mechanic go out, the purple swirl. There you go. So yeah, somebody. That's actually Brandish. So that's fine because he's going to do the orb. As you see, XN got that orb. But yeah, as long as everybody's stacked in that orb and far enough away from the other half of the raid. But I think it's foul. There were a couple of people just kind of in between both groups. Actually, you see it right there.
Yeah.
See that purple swirl? That's in between both groups. So that hit everybody.
Oof.
So that's not ideal. But yeah, as long as you're good, you're doing good. It's perfect. Exactly where I'd want to see you.
The only time I jump out of that is when my corruption goes off and I don't have a way to clear it. Because it's just...
So tell me a little bit about what your thought process was on this encounter.
My thought process right there is I can't afford a single extra point of damage because I'm getting all of that reflective damage. And I'm doing everything I can to slowly DPS to drain his mana, at the same time not kill myself. And that I feel like that extra damage is going to kill me.
You're probably right, to be honest. I wonder, though, as a Windwalker, it's pretty tough, right? Because you got, massive burst in a couple globals. So I guess, obviously, you didn't use Touch of Death. I see it on CD, or off CD. So what was your thought process in that phase? What were you using no CDs? You're just pretty much
no
doing
CDs. I'm doing a very basic rotation. I'm using my 2 chi generators, and I'm spending them on Rising Sun kicks and Blackout kicks. And if I have a link, I'll use them at Fist of Fury. But other than that, I'm using practically no cooldowns. Maybe
what's the CD on Touch of Death?
It's 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So that was up for a pretty long time then.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I think I might have.
Let's see when it returns.
Yeah.
Probably could have used it again at the end of phase 1.
Yeah.
See.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So 11 seconds left on it. Nah, Maut's it's pretty much over. So yeah, I think you made the right play. Yeah, that's probably no shade or none, but that's probably why Latu kept dying, because he'd probably use it right at the start of his phase and just one-shot himself. It happened a lot. A lot of people did it, not just him, not just anybody. In fact, we actually had Infective die to Infinite Stars. His Infinite Stars hit or whatever, and it killed him. It one-shot him. Hit him for about 85% of his health. Didn't one-shot him, but he was low. That was a couple pulls before. Anyway, so yeah, let's get back to the actual part of the fight then. So yeah, we did. I think we executed that perfectly. I think you executed it perfectly. You were exactly where you should be. Other than moving out for the corruption, which is probably the right play. There was no movement. I was worried that people were going to move for no reason in that phase, and that was going to cause these stacks to complicate. But frankly, like multiple other people did it poorly, and we still had no problem surviving that. So if anybody else is doing this fight, even on heroic, I don't see why anybody would get out with that mechanic. Like now that I've seen it, I don't why get out. It doesn't do anything. Just instantly dispel it. The thing it does is the longer it's on the person, the more mana the boss gets back. So obviously you don't want that to happen. Okay, so let's see what the phase looks like for you. Here we go. Touch of Death. You did it. Perfect. Glad to see that. You're maximizing your CD. Definitely, as soon as this phase starts, you want to pop CDs. What else? What else you got? There's the clones coming out. Good. A little late though, right? You probably should have did those together.
Yeah.
What's the actual burst window? Is it clones first, then Touch of Death, or how's it go?
Yeah, you want to. I'm just trying to remember the exact order. I believe you want the clones before Touch of Death so that you can maximize every single thing the clones do.
Because it's a global, right? So you don't want to waste a global on Touch of Death there.
Yeah.
You're not getting a lot of mechanics, I have to say. Pretty lucky pull for you. I'm surprised, because I watched this whole progression since when you joined to when we killed it, and you had gotten a lot of these pulls, so I was hoping. I think it happens for sure here.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's really, I mean, other than perhaps rotational stuff. Dodging through the silence there, not really a problem. Taking a little bit of damage, though. You run right back through it, so maybe that's something to avoid. But it doesn't really matter. You're full health now. That's a little dangerous. That pull does hurt. It does hit pretty hard. I was standing in it at times, and my God, I was getting shredded. Those ads actually hit harder than I expected, so that's pretty crazy. So what essences are we using for this? Do you remember?
I am using the one that gives me corruption resistance. I forget its name off. It's like some kind of blood or something. I'm using Blood of the Enemy as my main. I'm using Conflict and Strife rank 2, and I'm using whatchamacallit, the Islands one.
Island one, I see that. You're using Blood of the Enemy as your major.
Yeah, it's considered best for Windwalkers regardless of the fight.
Huh? How long's that been the case? Since the tier?
Since the tier started, yeah.
Last season you were using the PvP one, right?
No, I can't use the PvP one. It's only rank 2. As much as I would love to.
Oh, you still in rank 3, right?
Yeah.
So is that better than Blood of the Enemy?
I think it can be, because what it does is I can use a macro to always target a tank that's close and constantly hit the boss for 8% of the tank's health and heal the tank for 8% of his health every 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean it's strong. Obviously, I was just surprised Blood of the Enemy for single target.
Well,
I know that
crit is so it's hard to get crit on gear in this raid for us.
Gotcha, and it's really good for your spec.
For crit, yeah. And what you really want as a Windwalker is your crit and mastery to be equal, which is why that corals is such a good trinket for me, because I can make my crit match my mastery whenever I want to by proccing it. So.
That's interesting. Okay, well that's cool, as long as it's working out for you. So in terms of mechanics, you got like no mechanics. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, the again the CDs are looks like you're going in with Touch of Death on CD, and again I'd probably just say to do that. Looked like you had used the clones there right at the end of the phase. They were up a bit. Probably wasted about maybe 10-15 seconds on that. So I'd probably is clones a 2 minutes? No, it's only a 1 minute CD. It looks like.
And it's got a 1.5 minute recharge with 2 charges.
That's right. Yeah, so I would just use those as often as possible. I don't even know if they... Oh, it looks like you had the shadow thing there, yeah. I don't know if they even... Like, they're your damage or what? They're not targetable, right?
No, they're not targetable. What it does is it splits my damage into 3, and so each of the clones, Storm, Earth, and Fire, do 60% of my damage. So it literally is 180% damage when I have them up.
Yeah.
If I can hit everything.
Okay. So you'd probably kill you like. Oh, you taking a lot.
I'd kill myself in having them up during this part.
And there we go, touch of death. Good, man. You're playing well. That's good. CD usage is perfect. Again, though, you probably want to delay touch of death because now the clone is up. So yeah, you probably wanted to delay that touch of death another 15 seconds then and just wait. Now the clone's up. You also haven't used it. But I mean, at this point, we're gonna kill this boss, right? Like, who even cares?
Yeah.
I remember being really jubilous at this point because I thought, wow, we got to this phase with everybody alive. This boss dies, no problem. Then Faldor dies. Rip. What was your
I love your comment too. Yeah, way to die to get more healing.
No, that was Jehufa. So then he gets killed. He doesn't go into the annihilation as a holy priest. And some people do that. In fact, we actually just had a run on stream, Mythic Plus run, where this holy priest died 4 times on the last boss of a mother load, and people were suggesting he was doing it on purpose, but I don't know if he was. But so yeah, tell me a little bit about your thought process at this point. Like, look at even Seismill's going nuts in your chat. What's the thought like going through your head when we got to this phase with everybody alive?
Man, I cannot believe I got called back in and we managed to kill this bloody MFer. I was excited. You'll see.
I have to say, I quite like this fight, honestly. So let's go through it. I just noticed, though, I wonder, that yellow-looking rune thing on the screen above leg sweep, that's your defensive CD?
That is a magic defense. I try to keep that if my Touch of Karma is on cooldown, and I'm going to go into the void. I try to...
that's diffuse magic. Is that's the name?
That's diffuse magic. Yeah.
Where is Touch of Karma? I don't recognize the icon.
It's 2 icons above it. It's right above.
Oh, I see that now. Okay. There's Cop's nerd screen. You don't hear it, but it's just a little bit of a gasp. Really, he's just happy. He's not screaming.
Yeah.
So let's take one more look through there. So yeah, I'd say actually, like from DPS perspective, you play perfectly. Obviously, the CDs lining those up is probably the big reason that your maybe DPS was a little low at times. But yeah, I mean, it really, this fight honestly was not like challenging DPS wise at all. If anybody's watching this and they're like, I wonder how this fight's gonna go for my group when we get here. Here's really the only mistake you made in the whole freaking run right there. You get knocked back into that ad. Now that could have actually been a big problem. We got a little lucky here because if that ad meleeed you, you were gonna die there. You were already low. And it's very possible people did have that happen where they were too close to the ad when it spawned and it meleeed them before I can get threat on it. Because you don't see my perspective, but I'm like sometimes I'm up to like 200 yards away from that ad. So I have to kind of position myself where I could throw a D&D down, but at the same time not move out the other ad of the pool. Because if that happens and I can't get back quick enough, then the ad's actually going to heal the boss, the mana pool. So that's not acceptable. But yeah, the only thing I'd want to see is just your CD usage. Let's take a look at those phases because this is a really important fight for CD usage. And I know Touch of Karma is basically an offensive like CD, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it redirects a whole bunch of the damage to your current target. And if I've got good karma on, it will heal me for the amount that's redirected.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now I noticed there though you used diffuse magic to just step into that pool. I don't know. I'm on the fence. It seems like the right play. I mean, you're taking some damage when you're in there, but look how little damage you took. You didn't even go below 90% health. So I think in the future, you don't need to do that there. Save that for sure. It's a minute and a half CD. So unless you used it on the pull, because each one of these phases is about a minute and a half. It should be about it's definitely less than 2 minutes. So here we go. This is where you want to use it. Well, let's see if you use your...
Just don't die here, okay?
Yeah, so you didn't use Touch of Karma. I would definitely just start the fight, start this phase with all CDs up. This is what I was trying to impart on, what was that 3-minute CD you just used?
That was the cloak.
Oh, clearing the... Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, so this is basically something that we learned early here is just go in guns blazing, you know what I mean? And just pop all defensives. If you have wings, you want to just use bubble too, you know what I mean? Like any offensive CDs you have. So legitimately, you probably could have just used, if you say both your defensive CDs, pop Touch of Death there, and then just used them when Touch of Death expired, you probably would have survived. Although yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like risk versus reward.
Yeah.
And frankly, on this fight, I don't know if the risk is worth the reward. Like, we're not really gonna ever struggle DPS wise, but that's what I would do. Just make sure you have both CDs up for this phase, because this is like, there's just no reason to use it in the other phase as long as the healing's where it needs to be.
Get that final one. Somebody just get it. Okay, good. Just bring it to the healer.
What'd you think about your performance on this fight?
I was really kind of happy. I was impressed with myself that I picked it up as quickly as I did. I was like, it took me a few pulls to get the idea of where everything had to go. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? I got it. You know?
Yeah. It was pretty good, man. This fight was good. I think we played really well in this fight. And the last thing I'm going to show you here is the, there you go, Touch of Karma there. That's good play. I would definitely just always use these abilities in this phase, because the less damage you take, the more damage you could do effectively. But yeah, the final thing that we should show here, there it is right there. It just happened. Let's go back. Okay, so the biggest problem we were having with this fight, if you watch Cop do this live, there it is right there. 3 melee got this mechanic, and this is the first time it happens in this third phase. It's still, even though even though we're pretty much done with the fight, it still needs to be placed properly to clear the debuffs and stuff. And boy, you missed some pulls, man. I'm talking about like 3, 2, 1. All right, just jump off. It's a wipe. It would go on 3 melee, and all 3 of them just wouldn't. They would just stand there. It's like, not even try. So like all 3 puddles would just be right next to the boss, and I was like, oh, all right, that's it then. We can't. That's legitimately the fight. Like,
yeah.
So if anybody's watching this, like that, if you're doing this for Mythic, you can't make that mistake. Like, if you need the puddle, somebody needs a puddle at ranged, one way or the other. Like, maybe you're not going to do the tank thing that we did, but yeah, if you get it, you got to actually do something with it. You can't just stand there and AFK with it. And this is the great moment here. We actually have 3 melee, and watch, it's handled perfectly. I just want to show that just for recognition to both Salandria, Slushington, and Infective also making the right play. Not only did they make the right play, but they actually called it out. And I have to say that was the biggest move we made in that whole fight, because we were consistently having trouble with that. Whenever we would pick 3 ranged or 3 melee, it was just nerve-wracking, obviously, to realize that 3 people all had it right next to you. How do you handle it? Handled perfectly that pull. So congrats to them. And I wish I saw it. There was a couple of pulls where you got that mechanic. I remember watching it, and I think you went really, really far out, like we said on some of the other melee mechanics. So yeah, next time we do this, just don't go. Just basically, I would say just roll to your right, roll through that puddle if you have to, and then just roll right back. And I think that would be your best option, as long as you're not going to roll into a puddle. That's probably your best option, to just not waste DPS, because that doesn't matter. As long as it's not dropped on top of the group, then it can be dropped anywhere. So,
like I say, I think it's just that mindset from doing Vexiona so much and having to move the puddles far away, and just they feel like the same puddles.
You'd think that it was a mechanic that you wanted as far away as possible, but like once those first 3 are down, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter at all. So like, as you see, that's right where Infective, I think that was Infective who dropped that there. That's basically where all melee should be dropping them, just kind of overlapping the previous one.
Gotcha.
And that's it. Digi Annihilation, big mistake there. A lot of people they panic a bit, but that's why we're dropping those where they are, so you can just get in and get out. And congrats on the kill. So any closing comments? What do you think?
I was really happy with it. Thanks for taking me through it, because like I said, if you watch the VOD, I was self-criticizing in between pulls of like, okay, I saw what I did there, that was wrong. I saw what I did there, that was wrong. And then I was like, oh, yeah. I think I got it.
Yeah. A couple of the deaths, like in some of the other pulls, were obviously something to learn from. But that pull, perfect, man. I have to say. Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks for taking me through it, buddy. We'll have to definitely do this again, and maybe on some dungeons.
Yeah, congrats on the helm, by the way.
Absolutely. It was a direct upgrade. I had the one from Heroic on, so I got all my Azurite pieces at 480 now.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully this helped, and yeah, we'll look forward to doing it more.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Take care. Peace. Cop out.